All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Start with roll call.
Ms. Cooper Payton is excused. Ms. Harrell is excused. Ms. Hetland.
Present.
Mr. Jacobson is excused. Ms. Jones.
Present.
Ms. Orcherton is excused. Mr. Patterson.
Here.
Ms. Salmon.
Here?
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Okay, and we have a quorum, right? Okay, very good. Okay, next we're going to have approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those? Okay, I move that we approve them. Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we've approved the minutes. Okay, let's move on to the grant presentation by Rob Crum for CU Folk and Roots. Except it isn't Rob. Is it going to be Rob for this first one?
Actually, Brenda Koenig's going to go first. We have
Okay.
two presentations.
Okay.
We're covering the last 2 years of the Folk and Roots Festival.
Right.
So we're covering the 2016 and the 2017 festival.
Okay.
And Brenda was really centrally involved with the festival from its creation. It's really kind of her creative baby, and she's kind of stepped back in the last year. So I'm going to do the festival.
Yeah, I just can't get it.
Slideshow and then
Yeah, I did.
from
So.
the beginning,
Yeah.
all the way to the.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's a
You know.
different. All right, great. Okay. So as Rob said, in 2009, I had an idea and a few people that were willing to work on it with me, including Rob, I think. And it was the Urbana Public Arts Commission that provided the seed money for this idea. So I can't stress how important that money that came from this organization was to the creation and for the realization of this project, the Folk and Roots Festival. Now we're going to be going on our 10th year. So it's amazing, and I hope that other people who have really brilliant startup ideas are as lucky as we were to receive funding. I kind of worry about that sometimes. You know, it's like, oh, if you're established, then. But I really do want to stress that this was an idea that a few of us had, and this money made all the difference to us at that time. So
Yeah,
thank
and
you
I
very
think
much.
that's one of the things I had hoped for the grants, that it would be seed money for new projects. So,
Yeah, great. I mean, it's just wonderful. So thank you very much. Hmm? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, yes. And only because of the support of the community, as well as the fact that we had so many willing and amazing volunteers, because as you know on this committee, that the Folk and Roots Festival is basically all volunteer run. And so this is not just your average volunteer, a couple hours a week kind of venture. This was lots of people who spent thousands of hours over the course of even just 1 year to put this together. Okay, so this is from 2 years ago. The 2016 Folk and Roots Festival included over 80 events, workshops, jams, dances, storytelling sessions, and sing-along events over a 3-day period in numerous venues throughout downtown Urbana. So this has been kind of the way that we've presented this festival now for quite a few years. So nothing different about that. The grant funding for the festival is absolutely critical, and you'll see in a minute because I have a chart for you. The overall cost of putting on this festival is over $30,000. Ticket sale revenue comprised only about 10 to 12K of that amount. So as you can see, there's quite a bit more that, in terms of expenses, that the ticket sales does not cover. A year-round steering and booking committee of over 12 individuals and a festival volunteer corps of over 100 individuals spent over 1,000 hours planning and presenting the 2016 festival. And our attendance estimate over 3 days is around 1,400 people. It's hard. We have our opening night is to count, but we have people trying to make the count. We have an opening night at Krannert Center lobby, so people come and go. We have lots of free events in the library where people are coming and going. And then we have wristbands which means people can circulate, so you're not sure if you're, how many times
Right.
we're counting them. But we try the best we can. We have some great, we know, for example, what events are doing well because we count at each event that we have. So here is, this is a chart that we put together. Starting, I think, 2010, we started taking data, really specific data, and then in 2015, we put this chart together. So it's a couple years old, but I would say that it has not changed very much. And it's a little bit, it doesn't translate that great here. It's a little bit murky, but as you can see, the donations, the largest amount of income that we get are from donations. And when we say donations, we mean sponsorships, grants, basically money that does not come via ticket money or merchandise or advertising. So just outright donations and grants make up about 60% of our income. And the tickets to the festival, about 28% at least on this chart. And then the money going out. This is really interesting, and I don't think you'll see any other festival in America with this type of pie chart. We have almost 60% of the money that goes out goes to the artists themselves. And publicity is about 20%, which is the next little bar chart you see there, bar you see there. What you don't see is administrative costs. That's because we're all volunteers.
Right.
So in 2019, when I had this idea of a participatory festival. This is not, for me, it was really important to have a festival where people could come together in something and be united and really be a community building event, not something that you just sit down and passively, kind of absorb. That's something that you actually get involved in, and therefore, a significant portion of our events are participatory events, whether they're sing-alongs or jams, or family events. And so, to me, that was really important. So
Dances,
yeah.
dance lessons.
And we have, even one thing that's really cool is at the end of the festival, and this has happened probably the last 8 or 9 festivals, at the end of the festival, everyone just gets up on stage and plays. I mean, it can be participants who have brought their, instruments, and nationally, or artists with national reputations, and we're all together singing, and that happened again this year, and it was beautiful. It's always a beautiful thing. So here's some pictures from our festival. We have this was over here is a group of young people from the university, the Picken Illini. We have dances, quite a few different types of dances, and the dances are taught, and it's live music. This in 2016, we got Aaron A. Wilson involved in his soul event, which is kind of like an open mic. And one thing that we do a lot is connect to events and kind of things that are happening in the community already. So whether or not we're connecting with the Prairie Crossroads Blues Society, or this Soul on Sundays, we knew about this happening at the Iron Post, and we wanted that to be absorbed into the festival, so we did, and that was a fun event. It lasted for several hours on Friday night. Here you have a whistling workshop. That's the other thing we love to do. We like to really look at kind of innovative, cutting-edge kind of musical experiences that aren't usually kind of typically, kind of considered art, so art forms. In 2016, for the first time, we used the room at Community Center for the Arts, which is right on the corner of Main there, and we liked that. It ends up being really very intimate experience for everybody. This is one of our family concerts. We had a family mariachi band from Chicago come down, and they were adorable and amazing. And they did a sing-along after this as well. And then I'm just going to leave you with this picture. This is a picture of Cody Jensen and his band Dewclaw and Liz Fairmark. And we booked them for the first time in 2016, and this was after their show. And I don't know if it was you, Rob, or a combination of people who convinced Cody to jump on board the year-round organization. Cody was responsible for a large percentage of the bookings of this just past year festival. So what we try to do really is to connect with the community, get them engaged, and then lure them in to do some of the heavy lifting, because really an organization like ours is extremely vulnerable to the availability of volunteers. We're super, super lucky that there are people who are, I have to say, sacrifice, or at least spending some of their retirement time to do this. Because this is not something that a person with a full-time job and kids at home can do. It's not sustainable. So we're super, super vulnerable. We're only as good as the volunteers who put this together. If the volunteers fall away, this will no longer exist. And I can't, stress that that we're lucky. This year I could not continue, and I'm really lucky that a few people, Rob and Frances Harris, I want to point her out too, because she's someone who's been with us since 2009, agreed to fill in this space when I left. So thank you very much. And then he's going to go and tell you guys a little bit about the 2017 festival, which just finished.
Yep. Here, we'll just scoot over. That's fine. So raise your hand if you came to the festival this year. I know a lot of folks made it, so it's good. Yeah, so that slide with Cody Jensen, I'm not sure if you know him, but he plays in a couple bands. One is Dewclaw, and then he plays in this band that up until recently has been called Bones, Jugs, and Harmony, but now they're just called Bones Jugs for legal reasons. And anyway, so that band is they're based here in Urbana, and they tour with a passion. And so two of the members of that band, Charlie Harris and Cody Jensen, they were the booking committee this year, and so they're since they are a touring band, they play lots and lots of festivals during the summer. They maintain kind of a running list of who's out there and who's hot and who's not, and we really benefited from their experience this year. The festival took on a little different identity, but it was all good fun. So this is we'll just start with the logo. We do a new logo every year for the festival. This was designed by Brad Olson, and I'm not sure if any of you know him. He works at the Krannert Art Museum. He's a really smart, really bright individual, artist, musician. Organized a lot of music events. So we'll just press on. So we just had the festival in early November. That's when we've been doing it. And like years before, we had this year was 80 performances, 80 events on the nose, and everything happens in downtown Urbana except for opening night at Krannert Center. So there's a list of the different kinds of events that we had. I always like to put in. We do a lot of events for kids of all ages, okay, and so we have lots of families, and we try to, as Brenda said, we have a lot of participatory, hands-on types of events. So we have jam sessions, dance lessons. This year, we're thinking the crowd was about 1,750 people, somewhere in there. So the Public Arts Program did support the festival with a $2,000 grant. And that represents about 5% of our annual budget, which we run through this year about $40,000. And but the timing of the funding allows us to address some of those early festival expenses. So this year it helped print the T-shirts, helped us with online publicity and booking fees for some of the musicians that played at the festival. So we thank you for their support. And so The T-shirts got out there. One of them got upstairs with Diane Marlin, so she had a T-shirt and a poster, and this got on our Facebook page and attracted a lot of good attention. But people love the T-shirts. So there's just a little map of where the venues were. This kind of a aerial photograph of downtown Urbana. So you can see most of the Cranor Center on here is not shown. But you can see most of the events are within easy walking distance of the intersection of Race and Main. And, I put this note at the bottom with plenty of parking and the bus lines and bike racks available. All the venues are within easy walking distance, and really, like downtown Urbana really is like an identifiable part of this festival. The people who are starting to come to the festival from outside the area, they love it because it's all accessible. It's easy to get around, and so it just helps. I think it just helps make the festival more festive. So I'll just run through some photos. We did the Friday night kickoff event at Cranor, which was a band from Nashville mostly. This is Miss Tess and the Talkbacks with 3 local musicians on stage. So that's part of what we try to do at Cranor, is bring local folks together. We have we did some events at Busey Bank this year. There were Sam and Dustin. This is a band at the Iron Post that came down from the Chicago area. This is all on Friday, so just get back to some more of the information. So the arts program, as Brenda mentioned, is part of a network of supporters and donors. So there's some of our main donors have been the last few years. The City of Urbana, the Sousa Archives, Scott Schwartz at the U of I is a big supporter of the Urbana Business Association. We entered a new realm of sponsorship this year. We got sponsorship from an online business that's homeadvisor.com. They're not based here, but they saw a benefit of advertising with us online. And then we have donations from more than 60 individuals, and some people give a little and some people give a lot. Some people give in-kind donations, and we appreciate all that support. As Brenda mentioned, it really is a community effort. There's about 100 volunteers that make the festival go. So I just want to show this. This is a packed house at the Rose Bowl on Friday night. And there's our performer, Steve Pultz, up on a chair playing his guitar. So it was a lot of fun. So this was, that crowd at the Rose Bowl was pretty indicative of Friday and Saturday night. There were lots of folks jammed in there. This is one of the artists at the Community Center for the Arts. We use that space again this year. A gentleman who goes by the name of Chicago Farmer. He's from Bloomington Normal at the Rose Bowl. Then Saturday morning we did a lot of kids programming. So these are all events that took place at the Community Center for the Arts, and you can see a lot of people involved here. We had a good audience of families and kids all day, and this is part of the program that Scott Schwartz at the Sousa Archives supports us. He really loves to get younger folks involved with music, so lots of fun. The festival events were pretty well attended. We had standing room crowds at many events. And just kind of run through, this is the kickoff event at Cranor. We were estimated about 250 people, and then we had numbers in the hundreds for the rest of the events. Friday night about 600, Saturday night about 500. So sometimes I've gotten, I tell people if you can get 100 people anywhere in Champaign-Urbana, you're doing good. So,
a significant portion of our population.
yeah. So well, here's the other thing: is like if you go out to just pick your event. If you go to live music in town, and you start looking around, there's about 100 people in town that they show up everywhere. There's I would say 100, 150, 200 people who are reliably going to events at Cranor. They're going to events at the Iron Post, whatever. They're showing up. You see these same people everywhere. So, one good feel-good moment for me is kind of looking around and looking at all the people I don't know and I don't recognize. Who are all these people? So you start seeing these fresh faces, which is, that's part of the festival. A full day of events on Saturday at the Urbana Free Library, and I can't say enough about the library. We use 4 spaces over there this year, and the library staff, they're just totally behind this. They had a great time. We had performances there in the front room, kind of behind the coffee shop, and this is Jean Rene, who's a tremendous guitar player, and he teaches at the Community Center for the Arts. We had some dances over there at the IMC. With me and Mary, there's jam sessions going on, lots of jam sessions going on. And then, as Brenda said, we had this late night kind of hootenanny and jam session at the Iron Post. And this went on late on Saturday, and really I should have put, this really went into Sunday morning early. And good time was had. Lots of people stuck around for the very end. So we received a lot of comments. I heard several people say this is the best festival ever. One person came up and made the point of telling me they go to Merlefest every year, which is a big folk music festival, and they said this is like a more intimate and very fun Merlefest. And then several people said, I don't know how you're going to top this, which is fine, But this year we kind of took a lot of time to get information from people. So we had teams of volunteers at every venue, and they asked people 3 questions. They asked them, how many folk and roots festivals have you been to before? Where are you from? And how did you hear about the festival? So in the where are you from, not surprisingly, a lot of people from the local area, but also many besides Urbana-Champaign, Savoy, and Mahomet, we had people here from 18 other cities, and this is just a sampling of people you happen to talk to. Visitors from Kentucky, New York, Michigan, and other states. And then I met this gentleman from England, and he told me it was a jolly good festival. Those were his exact words. So and then he bought me a Guinness, which was great. So, through word of mouth and social media and advertising, I think we are gaining a good reputation among music fans. People are starting to come in from out of town, which is pretty exciting. And those people, they tell us they like the size of the festival, and they like being able to, sit down next to people at jam sessions who have national reputations. So there's some of our longtime festival partners and supporters, and these are really the people we can't do the festival without. Year after year, we get great support from all these people. So, as Brenda mentioned, again, it really is a community effort. We have a great network of festival friends and supporters. So once again, we thank you for the funding, the grant. Plans are underway for next year, which will be the 10th annual Folk and Roots Festival, and we're going to move that into October, just to avoid U of I home football schedule, and also we kind of wanted to stay away from the weekend before Halloween. So we're thinking about focusing our lineup on kind of the best of the fest idea. We're kind of collecting ideas about who people want to see from the 9 previous years come back and perform. And so we'll be putting the program together kind of based on that theme. So you can stay tuned for more. You can get on our website, sign up for the newsletter if you don't get that. Find us on Facebook, and then there at the very bottom, those are the 10 people that made it happen this year. So that's
Great.
about all.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. Great. Well, thanks.
Yep. Thank you. All right.
Okay, next we'll have the monthly progress report.
Good to see you.
My intern still isn't here, so hopefully she can give her presentation maybe towards the end instead of the beginning.
Sure.
Okay. Hello. Good to see all of you. As I mentioned, we've had this intern, Samantha Schrag of the College of Media's James Scholars program with us for this academic semester. And she will be completing her internship before our January meeting. So my hope is to have her give a brief presentation to you about her work before the end of the evening. She was going to be joining us a little bit later, so my hope is that she'll be here pretty soon. But let's get into everything else. This has been a really busy month for us, so I have a number of updates. The first of which is that our Urbana Arts grants are going to be available very soon, so in the next couple of days they'll be uploaded. They're going to be due on February 16th of 2018. We have, I believe we'll probably see record numbers of applications. Last year we saw record numbers of applications. I imagine that will continue to grow. But anything you can do, and anyone listening and watching is able to do to get the word out and encourage friends and fellow collaborators and creative minds to apply. We want to see a wide selection of applicants this year. In that respect, we've also been giving a number of arts workshops to support the grants program, to help people decide and learn about what makes a strong application, and to learn about other kinds of support and programs. So I've given to date 3 different workshops in the past couple of weeks. One was at the School of Art and Design called Arts Grants and Creative Support. The second is actually the furthest on the screen, and that's the Urbana Arts Grants Informal Workshop, or Informational Workshop, that was at the Independent Media Center in Urbana. Tomorrow night we have another one at the Urbana Free Library, and we will have one eventually out at Parkland College as well, date to be announced. So those 4 spaces are relatively the same workshop being given. I only say relatively because I give some information kind of catered to the population that's there, but it's all the same information about the Arts Grant Program. We talk a bit about other Urbana Arts programs here, Artists of the Corridor, Art Now, other opportunities to get involved. So we've seen a lot of interest in our programs and increased people asking for access to our newsletters and getting involved. So that's been really nice. All of these have been really well attended. So my hope is that tomorrow night's will be as well. The only update I have about arts in the schools, I wanted to mention that all the contracts have been signed. Things are starting to get underway for these projects, and I'm really excited to see them unfold. My hope is to assist with documentation throughout the arts in the schools period, so to be able to really support the artists. Derek Lindsay, who's doing Essentials in Beat Making at Urbana High School, Capoeira Angola Center, doing Capoeira Angola for kids at various elementary and Urbana Middle School, and then Roberta Westerman's Outdoor Arts Classroom at Urbana High School, which will actually create a permanent outdoor arts classroom that'll be at the school. So these are 3 very different projects, but really represent a nice variety of the kinds of creativity in our local community. Projects, again, will begin in January 1st of 2018. Murals on Glass. Again, Elizabeth Darling and Kelly Hieronymus, who are selected artists for Murals on Glass, they were recently featured at the WCIA Morning Show to discuss their work. The artists will also be featured in the upcoming issue of Buzz magazine. And I wanted to particularly bring this up to mention 2 of the receptions that we've now scheduled, and my hope is that they're open to the public, and we hope to see everybody there. The first is January 10th, and that will be for South Farm number 9. It will be from 12 to 1 p.m. at the Phillips Recreation Center. And that will be for Kelly Hieronymus. And then our second will be for Beth Darling for her Hosta Takeover, which is here on the City Building. So the reception and ribbon cutting will be at the City of Urbana the next day on the 11th, also from noon to 1. And these, here's another image of them on display now. So as you leave the building this evening, check out Beth Darling's Hosta Takeover. And when you go by Phillips Recreation Center, you can see South Farm number 9 on the front windows. These will be on display for 2 years with the possibility of renewal. The Urbana Art Expo, our big event we had since I've seen you last. First, I want to just say a thank you to Pat, to Jason, to Jessica, to Barbara for volunteering. I think without all of your help, it wouldn't have been pulled off as snappy as it was, and I was really happy that it turned out so well. We featured 17 local artists, boasted nearly 400 attendees, and received support from 12 distinct volunteers. The expo generated roughly $688 to support the Urbana Public Arts Program as well as publicity for local artists and the program itself. We saw print features in Smile Politely, the Daily Illini, and 2 television features on WCIA Channel 3, as well as a recap video by Urbana Public Television, which airs and continues to air this month. Artists also appeared on the Urbana Art Expo website and social media pages, and our intern will talk a bit about that too, but she did a lot of work to really disseminate information through the Art Expo website and our Instagram. These are just some pictures here along the bottom from this year's expo. And we see C4A giving a musical performance and some examples of different arts works that were there that evening, well, that day.
I'd like to mention that we did get quite a few sign-ups, too, for the newsletter.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
a lot of interest in the commission.
Those numbers have gone up for sure. So just really wonderful, and I'm glad that we were able to do that Art Expo again. I'm excited for how it continues to grow in future years. Our Art Now episode of December features Mimi Ting Nguyen. She's a professor on campus in the Department of Gender and Women's Studies and a zine maker. Her piece just actually went up, and it will be going on in reruns every Tuesday at 11 p.m. and every Monday at 6:30 p.m. And also available on YouTube. It's already got quite a number of shares. You can view her work on her website, and we do have Art Nows scheduled pretty much through the spring. We'll have Liza Silvestre in January, Latrell Bright in February, Dance Music Therapy in March, and Dodie Buzzard in April. Again, if you have people that you know who'd like to be featured, please send them my way. I continue to build that list. It's getting long, and I'm excited to feature everybody that we have had interest. We continue to do Art in the Square. This is at our Market in the Square with Urbana Business Association. This past Saturday, youth made paper crafts, little snowman puppets at the market, and we continue to do this once a month. So our January, I think, if I'm not mistaken, will feature slime making. So we'll see how that goes over. But encourage folks to come out and participate in Arts in the Square. Artists of the Corridor, I just wanted to mention that this exhibit will continue to be up through the end of December, so if you haven't checked it out yet, this is your moment before it leaves. And this was a joint exhibition between Laura Orr and Jill Miller. Both artists recently spoke at the Urbana Free Library's auditorium on December 6th. The event featured a short talk, a Q&A, somewhat of a show and tell, which was really fun. The artists actually brought a lot of the tools that they use in their art making, and were able to kind of show them around, both for printmaking from Laura Orr, and Jill Miller does batik, so it's melted wax, and so she got to show a lot of those tools as well, which was a really fun show and tell. We had concurrent activities for children in attendance, and a number of children that came out. So I'm excited to continue to make those artist talks a family-friendly environment, and to encourage a multi-generational space around thinking through art. The children also sat still for the artist talk, which was wonderful. I thought that they might want to play during the artist talk, but it worked out that they were all about the show and tell and then ready to play afterwards. Let's see. Excuse my cough. A new initiative is the Young Artist Studio. The Urbana Public Arts Program will be partnering with the Urbana Free Library to kick off a new initiative in the spring. Still a bit in the planning phases, but we're hoping to have arts workshops at the Urbana Free Library. The library is offering some funding towards supplies costs, and also small honorariums for the artists that will be giving the workshops, and will assist with some of the coordination and marketing. But really excited about that, and continuing to cultivate youth programming in the arts. Our social media marketing is pretty much all in a positive direction. We've got an increase in 31 followers on Facebook, an increase in 3 on Twitter, very modest, but a larger increase too on Instagram, and a larger increase in our newsletter. So we continue to sort of build those numbers up, and encourage you to share it as much as you can. I think Barbara is one of the best sharers of all of our social media things. So thank you, Barbara, for your support there. Art in Urbana, again, continues. So we'll continue to feature pictures, and we've seen a lot of people tagging, a lot of me tagging, too. There's a lot of kind of using the hashtags to get information out. We're continuing to build the volunteer program. It's growing in numbers, so more people are filling out the application. And what I'm going to do is call a meeting for January when a lot of these are U of I students, so when they're back from their winter break, and we'll get an orientation going so that those folks can also volunteer at some of the upcoming events in the spring. Lastly, I just wanted to mention I'll be serving as a juror in 2 upcoming art shows, the Fine Art Show from Eastern Illinois University and something called the Extreme Entrepreneurship Competition at the University of Illinois. It's a lock-in where students have to come up with kind of innovative ideas, and this year's topic is the arts and gender, and so really excited about that topic. But I'll be able to report back on those two things in January. So that's it. Thank you. Samantha, come on out. You pull up your presentation.
Right in time.
Right in time.
Like on cue.
Seriously, right in time. Okay, there you go. Samantha Schrag.
Hi, I'm Sam. I don't think I've met any of you guys yet, but so I've been interning for the public arts program this past semester. I'm also like a sophomore at the university in journalism, and then I just have just a little bit about me. So like I said, I'm a sophomore at the university. I also do a lot of journalism things, so I report for like the Daily Illini and some other publications as well. And I hope to work at like a lifestyle or fashion magazine. I focus on print editorial more. And then also one of the reasons why I picked this specific internship was because I had been involved with the arts before. I've danced my whole life. I've done theater and things. So I kind of understood how important it was. So these are just some examples of my work that have gotten a lot of coverage and things. So this was The Eternal Kiss Transforms into Eternal Bliss was one I did for Valentine's Day. And the one next to it was on the film club at the university, and that was printed just last week. So just to go over some of the things that I've been working on, so I've been doing a lot of event planning with Rachel. So I helped plan the Arts in the Corridor, which I also went to one of them, and it was great to mingle with the community and see everyone and meet the artists and see some of the work and such. And then Market on the Square, and then the Urbana Public Arts Expo, of course, I helped arrange that as well. These are just some pictures that I took from the Arts at the Corridor, too. These are just some different pictures from the 3rd annual Urbana Public Arts Expo, and unfortunately I couldn't be there because it was right around Thanksgiving time, and I obviously don't live here, but I mean, it was great to see the pictures and how much of a success it was, and I was really proud to be a part of it. And then also I worked on some graphics. One of the things I wanted to focus on was building those graphics, just because I do focus so much on writing, but you really need more than that, to succeed, especially in the media industry. So I made some graphics like this just to, for the different social media accounts and such. I also did a lot of marketing on Tumblr because it looked, very blank, and it wasn't very appealing to the eye. So I, spruced it up a little bit in promotion for the Arts Expo. So these are just some examples. We put a lot of artist bios in some of their work, so it just looks a lot more colorful. It's more appealing. Get the word out there so people view it and see what we're up to. Also, I helped with the Instagram. So we did kind of every day leading up to the expo, we did a different artist and a little bio about them, and just some of their art so people could see what to expect when they came. These are just some other things that we did. So one of the days I went around and posted flyers, and that was great, just promoting it and talking to people about it. And then also I tried to coordinate volunteers and create lists of people that Rachel could pull from. And then I also did a lot of research on what other arts programs were doing, and how they were getting people engaged and kind of their stats to see how we compared to them. And right now I'm in the process of doing 2 Public Eye artist spotlights. So this is something I'm really excited about because it does incorporate my journalism skills and those type of things. So I'm in the works of talking to them, and it should be published during the new year, so that's really exciting, so we can see that too. And then just to wrap up, these are just some things that I learned. Coming into it, I didn't have that many expectations, but it was really great for me because I've never worked in an actual working environment. So I gained so many just soft skills, learning how to work with people, learning how to work with coworkers and people in the community, and being able to represent something that wasn't just my brand. It was the public arts brand and the entire city, of Urbana and Champaign. So some of the things were just, event planning, networking skills, public speaking, and then also just with the community, it was really great to see the impact that we were making and just being able to talk to them and see what they want and how, it's affecting them. And then also just with myself, it was great to have like deadlines and things like that to learn, this is how it is, in the real world, because right now you're kind of in a bubble. So just learning, I can do all these tasks if I'm motivated and get those things done. So yeah, overall it was a great experience, and I'm really happy that you guys gave me this experience. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
We're
Just
glad
a
you were here.
quick comment, because I didn't mention it during my report, but the Artist Spotlight is actually a new column pitched to the public eye, so we'll have a different local artist featured every month.
Oh, great.
And it will be submitted by the Public Arts Program.
Very good. Well, I just wanted to mention one thing. She said she had done some research on how our program compares with others. Could you report on that at some point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Okay, well, thank you for all you did to
Yes,
to
thank
be a
you.
part of the team and to
Yeah.
help us.
No problem.
great.
I enjoyed it. So.
Okay. Thank you. All right, did anybody have any announcements they wanted to make? Okay, in that case, I'm going to move that we adjourn. Can I have a second? We're adjourned.